Good evening and welcome to Chat UTD. We're going to look at the manager situation. Rumours this week that Gareth Southgate might be potentially a candidate to replace Erik Ten Hag. So we're going to talk about that. Talk a little bit about, again, rumours about squad development and the budget that's available in the summer, which for me is a little bit of a concern. And wherever possible, I'm going to talk about the game on Sunday against Liverpool because it was a throwback, and I think it's kind of breathed life into our club. It's a reminder of what supporting Man United used to feel like. It's without any question the best feeling I've had since 2019 against PSG. And it feels like something was awakened on Sunday, and I hope it proves to be the case because that was really special. It was magical. It was something that where it felt like the worlds had kind of aligned to breathe life back into Manchester United. It was so special. So wherever possible, I'm going to reference that. So this week, there was rumours earlier in the week that Ineos were interested in making Gareth Southgate United's next manager. It was met with widespread condemnation and disgust amongst the United fans. Straight off the bat, I don't want Gareth Southgate to be our next manager. I want to make that really, really clear. But I also think it's not quite as outlandish as some people were making it out. It's like we're being linked to Sam Allardyce being our next manager. It's not like that. Southgate's done a brilliant job with England. People can downgrade it and say he's got a world-class squad. He hasn't always had a world-class squad to work with in the last 8 or 9 years. He's done far better than any other England manager has done for the previous 20 years before he took over. And he has harnessed the spirit which makes top players want to go on international duty and go and do the business. I know there's a big thing with United and England. United are always my priority, but I have to say I have no problem with England. I do support England and I want them to do really well in tournaments, and I feel quite passionately about them, especially when they play in tournaments. And I would guess that until 2018 in the World Cup, when Southgate got England to the semi-finals, most fans were not really interested in England. I'm not just talking about United and England, United and Liverpool fans who don't like England. I mean, anyone, no one cared, and I think there's a large majority of the country's right behind the team now, and he has harnessed that. He has. So I think he deserves credit for that, and he deserves respect for that. That being said, it doesn't make him a United manager. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, in that interview a few weeks ago, said that the club is going to set the tone for the style of play, and then the manager has to deliver that style of play. Well, I hope that the style of play that they're trying to get will be attractive, attacking football. Southgate doesn't play that, so it does seem strange. But I must say, when I looked at Stick to Football today, I watched it today, but it was out a couple of days ago, and Roy Keane and Gary Neville, neither of them poo-pooed the idea. It does make you think that potentially perhaps there's something in this. Which brings me to Erik Ten Hag. I think Ten Hag deserves next season. I think increasingly as the season goes on, he's overseeing a recovery that I didn't think that he or the team was capable of producing. Around Christmas, the season was over, and I still don't think we're going to get Champions League, but we're in an FA Cup semi-final against Coventry, and we should win that. I think Chelsea could beat City, but even if they don't, I don't know. You don't go through what you went through on Sunday with the Liverpool game to lose in the final or semi-final. I've just got a feeling I think we can do it. So if he can win the FA Cup and finish 6th, it's crap. It's a shit season for Man United, let's be honest. I talk about standards all the time. It's nowhere near good enough. But when you look at where we were and how dead the season was, if he can achieve that, and also bear in mind what he did last season and that credit in the bank kind of thing for that, plus the fact that if the alternative is Gareth Southgate, Graham Potter, Amorim, Tuchel, Nagelsmann, it's like whatever. None of them make you go, what, flipping out, yeah, I really want him. Then I think absolutely he needs to stay and be given a chance under that structure. But whatever happens, it comes back to the same thing. The clear out that's been being threatened since Solskjaer first arrived in 2019, the summer of 2019 when he was the manager, it needs to happen. Players need to go. And the talk is that the 3 nailed on people that are going to go are Varane, Casemiro and Wan-Bissaka. I'll take Casemiro out of it. I think I like Casemiro. I don't think he's this world-class midfield player that a lot of people think he is. I think he's quite not injury prone, but he does pick up injuries. He's a walking suspension. Anything past 70 minutes and he's knackered. He hasn't got the shape to play in the Premier League. He hasn't got the physique to play in the Premier League at that level. Every 3 or 4 days. It's not there. So I'm not overly bothered about Casemiro. If we could recoup some money for him and get his wage off there, then I think that's decent. But we have to replace him, which is a big job. But Varane is a Rolls Royce of a defender. He's colossal. He always seems to be in the right place at the right time. His reading of situations, his sniffing out of danger, his courage, his leadership, his influence on the other players, the fact he's a winner, he's won everything. He's quite understated. He's missed 6 games this season through injury. And I know that he has a bad record injury-wise, but this season he's missed 6 games, officially anyway, through injury. He's on a lot of money, but he's prepared, apparently, to take a reduced wage to stay at United. I thought the point of Ineos coming in and having this look at everything was that they were going to get rid of players who were on big money, who weren't justifying that money. Well, Varane does justify his money. He's a brilliant player. When he's fit and available, he's superb. There's other players that you could look at very, very easily and say they don't justify their money, which maybe is a conversation for another time, but Varane isn't one of them. Wan-Bissaka, again, I would say the type of profile of player that you want to keep and have around the squad, not a player you get rid of. Never moans, keeps his head down, does the business whenever he plays. You saw what he did the other day. He comes back for the first time. He's playing first time in 2 months, and he's playing against Mo Salah, and he's marked him out of the game. And he did it. I know Sterling's not the player he used to be, but he did it with Sterling when Sterling was on fire with City. He always pocketed him. He's done it countless times. He's a brilliant, brilliant one-to-one defender, and it gives you that option. And clearly he can play left or right, which gives you that versatility. So I don't understand the logic in him or Varane going. If you look at the squad in terms of what we need to do with it in the summer, in terms of need, if let's just it's not devil's advocate, but it's like let's just say that the general consensus is right, and that we are going to get rid of Casemiro, Varane, and Wan-Bissaka. If that happens, then this is what we need. We need a left back. We need a left-sided centre-back, because when Martinez is unfit, which is too often, we're not the same team. The balance isn't right, so we need a left-sided centre-back. If you get rid of Varane, you probably need a right-sided centre-back, because you can't just get rid of Rafa Varane and just not replace him because of the qualities that he's got. Maguire, Lindelof and Evans don't cut it. So there's 3. And then obviously if you got rid of Wan-Bissaka, you're going to have to get a right-back as well, because we've only got Dalot at the club who's a right-back. So you're going to have 1 of each position in the back 4. If you get rid of Casemiro, he's our only holding midfield player. So you have to get a holding midfield player. You could argue even if you keep Casemiro, you need a holding midfield player, because you can't rely on Casemiro to be there all the time. Although maybe Mainu could perhaps cover that for one season. And we desperately need a striker. So there's 6 players we're going to need if you got rid of those 3. If you didn't get rid of those 3, you only need 3 players. We need loads more than 3 players, but just to keep with the point, you need a left-sided centre-back, you need a left-back, and you need a striker, if you kept all of those other players. So we're making hard work for ourselves, because if you had 3 players that played centre-back, right-back, and holding midfield who were all absolute dickheads, who were on crazy money, who were real poisonous, horrible people in the dressing room, then of course, get rid of him and you're going to have to try and replace him. But none of them are like that. They're quality players. So I'm a bit like, so you're supposed to be coming in and setting this new culture, but you're getting rid of players who are probably quite good for the culture. Let's hope it's bollocks and it's just media talk, because I think that's really concerning if that does end up happening. And then in terms of incomings, there's a lot of rumours, as there always is with United, but because it's silly season all the time. But one very strong, what seems to be more than a rumour, is Elise from Crystal Palace. And again, I don't get that. He's a winger. And we've got Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony, and Ahmad. Palestri's on loan. I don't think he'll come back if Ten Hag stays. And obviously Sancho, we've got to get him out. But so you'd have them as well. But even if you take them out of it, you've got 4 wingers for 2 positions. They're not going to get rid of Anthony, because the most you'll fetch for him is 30 million, and they paid something stupid, didn't they? So you're not going to take a £50 million hit in 2 years. That's not going to happen. So, and I don't think they get rid of Rashford. I want them to, but I don't think they will. So unless they do get rid of Anthony or Rashford, at least it just doesn't make any sense. It's £60 million of a very, very limited budget in a position that we are pretty well stocked in, when you've got such dire need in other positions. So if rumours are to be believed, I don't like where this summer's going, either with outgoings or incomings. It really concerns me, that. To bring it back, just to kind of summarise, I would say Ten Hag, unless something bonkers happens, I would say has to stay now, next season. And he deserves, because of what he did last season, because of the recovery this season, I just think he deserves a crack at it with a decent structure. And I'd be interested to see what he could do in that structure. I don't want Southgate, I don't want Potter, I don't want Tuchel, I don't want Nagelsmann, there's no one out there. It's so slim pickings, so thin on the ground, that this isn't the time to change your manager. I think, you want to come in and you want to say, I want to play a style of football. Well, actually, what Ten Hag proved last season is that with the squad that he had, he was able just to play winning football that got us 3rd, winning the League Cup, latter stages of the Europa League, and the FA Cup final. That isn't the way he wanted to play. This season isn't the way he wants to play, I'm sure. So if you say to him, Eric, this is the way we want to play, I think he's a much more adaptable manager than Gareth Southgate, if that's what you want to go with. And I said a couple of months ago, I thought that maybe he wasn't the right man for United, and I don't think he's the right man for United in terms of winning titles. I still think that, and I didn't think he'd be here next season. That wasn't because I didn't want him to be. It's just that I just didn't think he would. But he's got a pair of bollocks on him, and he's fighting, and he showed on Sunday he's a gambler. He gets it. He knew how important that game was, and that was a phenomenal management on Sunday. Whether people can say it's chaos or call it whatever you want, you pull off a result like that, you deserve a lot of credit. And it was a special day, and he oversaw that day. And that, whether people say it's one game or not, when you lose heavily to Liverpool at the wrong time, you can get sacked. If you win a game like that against Liverpool, when you're already starting to build up a little bit of credit in the bank, it can have the opposite effect. And I would say that that's where I'm at with Ten Hag at the moment. One thing that never changes: Glazer's out.